I'm Damian Woetzel, director of the Vail Dance Festival, and welcome to this special bonus presentation as part of our digital edition for the summer of 2020. This summer, while we can't gather in person, we're taking a retrospective look at many of the dances that have occurred in Vail over the last years, as we look ahead to what we can do together in person next summer. Right now, we're going to have a conversation with Herman Cornejo and myself about Suite of Dances, a ballet made by Jerome Robbins for Mikhail Baryshnikov to the music of Bach, cello suites. So the idea of passing things on to dancers is so much at the core of what the Vail Dance Festival is about. And it's part of the tradition that I certainly went through as a dancer myself. And now as the director of the Vail Dance Festival, it's just a privilege and it's an honor to get to do this year after year and to really grow with dancers as they progress through their careers. This is a festival bonus, if you will, this discussion about Jerome Robbins' Suite of Dances, which I danced myself for Jerry at New York City Ballet. And then I staged for Herman Cornejo 2 summers ago for his debut in the role in Vail. Now, Herman's been coming to the festival for some time, about a decade, and has done a wide range of works and lots of new choreography and, danced pieces that he wouldn't ordinarily have in his repertoire at ABT. And I particularly think about my own career when I think about Herman, because I remember being in his kind of spot and thinking, what else? What else? What else? So it's thrilling to get to welcome my friend Herman to have this conversation. Herman, welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Damian. My pleasure to be here and also to be part of the festival for so long, like you said, a decade at least. So it's been always every year so different and very rewarding for me and as an artist and as a human being.
Well, your participation has, pulled us along. When you have such gifts like you, my friend, it pulls us along to do better and better work ourselves, and it makes me think hard every year about what can we do? What can we do? What will be the next thing with Herman? And there's been a lot, over these years. I was picturing Apollo a couple of years ago. I was picturing Rubies. The real Balanchine rep, then Merce Cunningham, which you got into in such a deep way through your work with Melissa Toogood, which then continued, and Laura Lubavitch, and so many things. And I have some images I thought I'd show you that kind of will pique your imagination a little bit before we move to Suite of Dances itself. But I really think your presence at the festival has been an extraordinary gift on the stage and off the stage. So this to me is that's the work. That's what we do.
Nice.
That's an up close when we were working on Apollo. And it goes somewhere. It's not just for the work, it's where you end up so incredibly. And then the partnerships, the work we do with Tyler, which is just staggeringly nuanced. If you look at this photo, there's so many different things to focus on that we did in the room.
It's so amazing to connect with dancers that I usually don't partner, and we meet at Vail, and everything happens in Vail. Things right. Things for the first time, and that's the magic.
Well, the receptivity is very important, and I've often thought that in our work together, it comes together all at once almost. It's like there's all these elements. And in a room, some days it's like, wow, how are we going to put all this together? And then suddenly it really does come together. And I remember that with Apollo, that when we finally got to this moment, recreating the original version with the stairway from the 1950s, we really said, oh, wow, it has come together in a way that was so rewarding after all of that. And Rubies, which was one of my roles that I loved dancing, clearly, was so much fun to have you and Tyler do with the dancers of the Pennsylvania Ballet at that point. How did that one feel? You look like you're having a good time.
I had a great time with each piece, and all of them, they were a debut for me. Apart from the classical parodies that I did at Vail, everything else was a debut. So it felt incredible to step into different roles and to different way of movement. And love these photos.
Look at this, I know.
Memories. I love it.
So many things that, I hadn't really thought of it from that point of view. It's really all been debuts in so many different ways. Whether it's a new partner or a new choreography or a, completely different type of scenario with different partners. Because even before you did the full length with Tyler, you did the pas de deux with Lauren.
Right. Yeah.
And Heather and I really took advantage of the time to really dive deep, in these works, so it doesn't just happen, and then disappear. That it becomes a part of you.
I also think this is the beauty of, at least to me, to work in Vail with you and with Heather, because there is nothing like working with the choreographer. But when you don't have the choreographer, you need an excellent, amazing ballet master to put it together, to have the vision that the choreographer had at the time. And I find that most of the times ballet masters don't have the same view as the choreographer. And so I take, your view and Heather's view to put everything together to a different level, because you really, you not only know the choreography, but you know the how and the why they choreographed it. And you allow us to feel like we're working with a choreographer.
Well, that's certainly the goal, to not just say, this is what it is, that's it, this is done, but to open up the possibilities and understand that, while there's choreography, there's also musicality, and there's, emphasis, and how we understand it is so deeply based in the music, for me, I know. And then to watch you, kind of be in the mode with a completely different type of musicality, for instance, in the Merce Cunningham work, which you just dove into with Melissa, who not only is an extraordinary Cunningham dancer, but stages it just beautifully. I remember you posted an Instagram that said, "I love dancing Merce Cunningham with Melissa Toogood." And just, how you embraced that. But then more than that, so many other choreographers. This is you and Robbie, remember, in Concerto 622.
Yeah.
Just, so beautiful. You would just invest yourself in these moments, and then go back and continue and find what there is in that. Do you find that these moments and this work feeds the core? Because we talked about that, Heather and I talked about that a little bit earlier, about with Tyler, how all of the different things we watch Tyler do, in the end, they come back in when she's doing Tchaikovsky pas de deux. It comes back in when she's doing, what you might consider her core work of Balanchine at City Ballet.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to go through all these different type of dancing. And like, to me, always when you're accustomed to do a certain ballet, like for me are the classicals, and then you're taken into Balanchine and Lara Lubovitch and Michel Durance, so different styles, that it opened your mind, it opened your body to allow different musicality and movements. And then when I go back to the classics, I feel even better because I have more information.
Well, and also, in those classics in Vail, you've been a giver as well, working, with Lauren Lovett on Giselle. I was thinking about, and how you brought your own experience, which is so vast in those 19th century classics, to bear on dancers who, she was in that position, going outside of her front yard and trying this to the manner born, of course, but it's a step forward, a next step, which I think about it.
And not only I you just mentioned that I brought that styles to to Lauren, but I also felt that Lauren gave me something back, you know, an approach to something that I never occurred to me that could be approached like that.
Right.
So that's the beauty of that connection there.
Yes. Well, all of it, you know, in some ways, you know, in music, Bach, you know, it's all in there in so many ways. The musicality, the possibilities for classical music are in Bach always, and you can see how it developed over the centuries since he was composing. And in Suite of Dances, which Jerry Robbins choreographed for Baryshnikov, it's all in there. You know, everything, all the examination of form is in there. And I got to dance that. I learned it from Jerry when he was still alive, working at New York City Ballet, and I danced it right up until the end of my career. And I really was excited to teach it to you because I knew how much you would find in it. That every movement has a, you know, a different possibility on a different night, that you can find different things in it. And you've danced it a couple of times now, in Vail a few times, and then in DC for demo. And it's there waiting for you for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, Robin's work, they became one of my favorite works to do. It almost feels like it fits like a glove to my body. And when you started teaching me all these steps, the steps became something else, a story, amazing photos.
Look at that. So that was really in the thick of it, really working it out. But, you know, and again, we try not to be imitative, you know, and I was trying to say, you know, this is maybe, you know, how I did it. But, you know, it's movement, you know, and we find ourselves in these moments, especially on the floor at the end when we're so exhausted, you know, that the sheer joy of it. But throughout, you know, that we have a different way to speak. There's different languages within the choreography.
Yes. Well, you have your personal experiences that you portray on stage.
Yes, that's absolutely right. You know, when you imagine Suite of Dances and you picture that, you know, the prelude which begins it, which is really setting the stage for how you walk, essentially. You know, you walk to begin, you pause, and then you begin to find the music in it. Do you think of it differently each time? I remember thinking as I began how it was there was so much possibility in how I started.
Yeah, well, you know, those are the moments that allows you to think and to move as a human being rather than as a dancer. I've been used to always approach, because I'm a classical dancer, all the solos, all the variations as a classical dancer, and there's a different way on stage. And starting this solo, I just felt myself. I felt Herman Cornejo on stage. It's not a dancer; it's a human being.
Well, that was the goal. I mean, to get to that place that it wasn't about the steps in that way. And in the second movement, the Guy, which has such a rhythmic kind of drive to it, and the third with its, you know, qualities of lyricism, and then the fourth, which is just, you know, time to go, you know, and really fly around the stage, gives you that license to find yourself in it, I thought. And it's one of those things that I saw Misha do it originally, and, you know, with his big shadow, you know, it's hard to step out of it, but it's been interesting to watch how it can be, you know, you've seized it as your own, you know, and you listen to the cello, and it's a part of you as much as the dance is, you know, what's happening, the timbre of the strings. And it makes me, having this conversation makes me just want to get in the room and work on it a little more.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it changes not only every time you do it, because you will do it differently, but also it changes with the musicians that you will have in front of you, because basically a part of it. And so I remember doing it at Vail and then in DC, how different it felt to have a different musician in front of you.
That's right. Well, and it's, we always think about, I think in solo work especially, which is actually, as you correctly say, in this case, a potager, we have more, it's more than us, it's the audience, because it doesn't live unless it lives in them, and it's like, I know when I was dancing Suite of Dances, we always have our antenna, is there laughter, is there breathing, is there coughing? God forbid, that's no good. No, you're not doing it well then. And, I remember talking to you a little bit about Jerry particularly, and we worked on this in some of the solos from Dances at a Gathering and other dances as well, how it was a very complicated kind of scenario where what you were doing needed to be internal, not for the audience, but you had to understand that the audience was a part of it. And so his example, I think I told you, was that it should look like you're doing it in a room and then somebody actually is watching and you don't know they're watching. And that's how you do it. So he would say market, because he thought that would give that quality. But he'd also say, get there on the music. So you couldn't completely market. And I remember we talked about that. And I think that you found just that right tone in the opening solo and dances, as well as in Suite of Dances now, the chance to actually exist, on a stage. And that's when people ask me, what do you miss dancing? That's what I miss. The chance to exist on a stage, often with another person. You don't get to do that in real life.
Yeah. And, to me, I'm not a dancer that will dance for myself. I can't put 100% of me if I don't have anybody watching. So my way to do it on stage, and it's a bit of what Robbin said, that you need to dance for yourself, but it's true that the audience is there. But what you want to do is to bring the audience to you. So the way I feel when I'm on stage is that the audience is with me on the stage instead of in front of me.
Oh, I love that. And I often see that, like when Yo-Yo plays, that he loves having the stage seating where they're around. It's like it's a circle, not a proscenium, and you have that feeling. And actually, it just reminded me. I remember when Misha was doing the solo at City Ballet. Actually, he came and did a few performances of it early in the piece's life. He had danced a lot with Heather, so they were friends and colleagues. And he said, "Hey, can I show you something?" So he took her into the practice room at State Theater and made her watch the whole thing. She just sat her down, and like 15 minutes later, he'd done this entire dance, all 4 movements, because he thought, this is how I can rehearse this. I need to have a connection in some way. And I so it's kind of a little bit like what you were saying. That it exists. It can exist on its own, and we can go in a room by ourselves. But in the end, it has to communicate. It has to live somewhere else with someone else.
Yeah, because dance is a communication. You speak with your body, and someone to listen to what you're saying.
That's right. Your punctuation. Well, and it's the kind of thing, this dance in particular, Suite of Dances, that you will enjoy doing in many seasons, in many places. I remember doing it outside in Italy for Alessandro. I'd actually retired, so it was shortly after I retired in City Ballet, I went to Italy to Spoleto for her, and I danced Suite of Dances outside. And it's just another world. And doing it outside in Vail, as the audience will get to see now, your debut, actually, with Ann Richardson on cello. It's a particular moment, just the beginning, my friend. And we have it immortalized in lots of different ways. Our wonderful, artist in residence, our visual artist in residence, Andrea, always, makes sure to capture the glory in different ways. So with that, I want to say, Herman, I'm looking forward to when we can be in a room together. I'm looking forward to what we're going to do in Vail next summer. Lots of plans.
A
And all of
lot.
the performances in the digital festival are so meaningful. We're going to see you in Justin Peck's work to Caroline Shaw's commission score, Rise, Wait, Climb Through. We'll see you in Michelle Dorance's piece, We Seem to Be More Than One, in which you took on lots of different aspects, which were exciting. And of course, this piece, Suite of Dances, will be showing the fourth movement. But right now, we're going to show all of it, and I can't wait to watch it myself. Thanks so much for joining us, Herman.
Thank you.